All right, we'd like to welcome you all to Calm Together, our free weekly webinar series. We at Duarte are opening our doors in these unprecedented times to show you our very own strategies and techniques for effective communication, virtual and otherwise. Each week, we'll spend 30 minutes with some of Duarte's communication experts. We'll talk through relevant topics, we'll answer your hard-hitting questions, and we'll take you behind the scenes here at Duarte to see how we solve the communication challenges of the world's top brands and thought leaders every single day. I'm Doug Neff, Duarte's content director, and I'll be your host. Last week, we talked about leading virtual meetings with Dr. Megan Stevens, and if you haven't seen it yet, I hope you'll check it out. You can find it on our website. This week, we're going to get a little more practical, and we're going to talk about how to step up your setup, how to look and sound great from anywhere. I brought two special guests today, so let's meet the first. She's a senior content developer and executive speaker coach at Duarte. Welcome, Amanda Holt.
Hi, Doug. Good morning, and good morning, everybody from San Francisco.
And our second guest will be joining us in a few minutes. But in the meantime, Amanda, let's set the stage for our discussion today.
Yes, let's do it. This is fun. So I think probably a lot of us, the people who are on this call, the people who are joining this webinar, we're doing a lot of video meetings these days, taking a lot of virtual calls. I actually heard a crazy stat just this morning that Zoom is up to 300 million daily video users. Sounds like a lot, but in context, the most they ever had before shelter in place was 10 million. So 10 million, 300 million every day. That gives you some context, and that's only one platform. We're using tons of them. So we've been hearing from a lot of clients. I've been hearing from a lot of friends and family, help me show up, not like a weirdo on video calls. So we've all watched people fumble with technology. We've been the culprits of that, being backlit or being looking up your nose or something on a call, not realizing you're on video. All of these troubles people are having, we call all of those things credibility crushers. So things that compete with your credibility on a call, in a meeting, at work, things that force your audience to do more work than they should, to understand you, to believe in you, to believe in what you're saying. And man, there are a lot of opportunities for credibility crushers these days. Obviously, our homes are not meant to be a place of business, but now they all are, because we're all sitting in our homes trying to do work and everything else. So
that's right.
Yeah.
I don't have all these teacups when I'm at work at my office.
Yeah, but you know what, to be clear, this session is really not about holding yourself to this perfectly glam, polished standard. We got to take it easy on ourselves. We're living through some weird times, and we're not going to compete with that, but we do want you to step it up just a little bit.
Got it. And I get, like, while there might be times when you want to look your absolute best, there are those situations. It sounds like we're going to focus today on doing your best with what you've got in front of you while you're at home, the equipment you have, how you can upgrade that to be your best.
You got it, exactly. So here's what we do know. You don't need a glam squad, and you don't need more than 5 minutes to show up with credibility. So today we're going to solve for those moments where you need to move an audience in a virtual video meeting. And we just have some simple tech hacks to do that. That's what we're bringing you today, a simple checklist to show up with credibility in virtual meetings.
I love it. Okay, well, I think we'll probably spend about 15 minutes sharing that checklist, and then we'll turn it over to questions from you, the audience. Before we get into that list, we'd like to make sure we're receiving your questions. So please leave us a comment in Facebook about the cringeworthy things that you've seen on virtual meetings. What has been the worst? And Amanda and I are going to flip over to watch the chat as they come in and see what people have seen. Amanda, what's your favorite, most cringeworthy moment that you've seen?
I had a client show up on a Zoom call, I believe, in bed, and then dropped the phone and had to recover slowly from that foible. How about you?
I love that. I was doing a coaching session with someone who was in a very, very small apartment. His bed was behind him, unmade, and there was still a lady's hairbrush in the bed, as if she had left the room 30 seconds before we started. No,
she fled.
She fled. Yeah. Okay, so I don't see too many responses yet, so I want to encourage everyone to keep putting questions in there throughout the webinar, and we'll get to those at the end. Our producer, Emily, will be watching out for them, and she'll tee them up for us at the end of the webinar. Okay, Amanda, let's jump in.
Yeah, and before I do, I just saw cats. Lots of cats. That's what somebody just
lots of cats.
Lots of cats, video bombing, cat bombing in the background. I love it.
That's awesome. Definitely
All
distracting.
Right. So let's get into this thing. Our checklist is a simple mnemonic called LAMBS. LAMBS. So we're saying before every virtual meeting, remember the lambs, and here are a few in sweaters to get you in the mood.
Oh, that is so awesome. That reminds me, everyone has seen this, I'm sure, but there's this farm sanctuary close to us here in Half Moon Bay, California, where you can rent a llama or a goat, probably also a lamb, to join your work meeting. You make a donation to the sanctuary, and then they hold a phone up to the llama, and I think that's great. They call it, you know what they're calling it? Goat to meeting.
Oh my God. That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's called Sweet Farm Sanctuary. Someone on the team here will probably put that in the chat. But so I love that. Lambs can help us remember how we need to step up our game for virtual call. Great.
Exactly. So let's break it down, shall we?
Yep.
All right, LAMBS, LAMBS, lighting, audio, me, background, and speed. So those are your 5 things. Those are the 5 things we're going to go through in the next few minutes. But before we start, I want to ask our third guest to join us, our very own Cody Dishman. He joins us from Austin, Texas. He's going to help us demonstrate some of these tips in the wild because he's gone through all of them himself. So he's going to join the call in just a second. And I want him to introduce himself and introduce his space to...
Hey, whoa, hey.
Oh, we interrupted Cody's morning routine.
Welcome, Cody.
Hello. Thank you for coming. Yeah, I'm Cody Dishman. I'm coming to you live from Austin, Texas, and also coming to you live from, believe it or not, my closet. So you can see I have this picture here of these beautiful kids, and they're sweet and noisy. Both. So this is like the most private, quiet place I could be in. And also, if I just turn my computer a little bit this way, yeah, you start to see, oh, there's some clothes over there. So I think I've had to solve some of these problems, and I think a lot of us are coming up against now of being in less than ideal circumstances.
I love it. Well, thanks for joining us, Cody. And let's move on. Let's get into the L in LAMBS.
Let's get into the L. Yeah, thank you. So welcome, Cody. Let's start with the L. L is for lighting. You don't want to look like you're lost in the shadows. You don't want to be a glowing orb when you show up for your meeting. We just want to see your face in all its beautiful glory, and lighting will help. And in fact, we found that you actually have a chance to look really good, even better than you do in your office. And there's lots and lots of YouTube videos from professional photographers and videographers that you can learn about all the ways to harness light. But for a 5-minute checklist, we just want to go really basic. So we've got 2 key tips for you here. All you need to know is to be naturally lit from the front. So that's 2 tips in 1, natural lighting with your face positioned towards it. So that means a window. Hopefully you have a window in your space. That's what I'm doing right now. I am facing the one window that I have in this room in my house. And it makes a good difference. It looks pretty good. To give you some contrast here, if I flip myself around, kind of weird, kind of shadowy and creepy.
Yep.
So I'm positioned totally against the natural light. In offices, you probably all have offices that have harsh neon lighting coming from the ceiling. It's kind of sterile. It's kind of cold. It can even leave heavy dark circles under your eyes. You don't want that. Here at home, you actually have the chance to use natural lighting, which is really cool. But some of you work in a closet. Some of you don't have a window. What do you do, Cody?
Yeah, so obviously I have some limitations here in my cloffice. So, the first thing I did was just brought in a lamp from another room that worked okay. But the best fix I found is we found these just strip LED lights that you could tape to the wall in front of me. And so I can turn them down.
Oh, wow. That makes a big difference.
See, so this is what it would use. This is what it would be like if I didn't have any ambient light in front of me.
Yep.
Then I can dial it back up. And so, yeah, anytime I have a client call, I just turn those on so that I can be better lit.
That's a pretty inexpensive hack to do that. You don't need studio lights or anything like that. And I bet everyone has like a desk lamp around that you can bring on the desk and play around with till you get a good source of light. And Cody, if you don't mind, we'll get the link from you of what those LED lights are, and we'll put them in the comments.
Sure.
Great.
Awesome.
Okay.
So moving on, we did lighting. Now let's go A. LA of lambs is for audio. So
it is for audio. Okay.
For audio. Let's assume you're in a meeting. You want to move something forward. You want to present something, be persuasive. Your lighting in your video is really not that important if we can't hear you. So you want to be able to be heard well. It comes down to one question. Are you using the right mic? There's a lot of options for this. Think about your space. Are you in a huge room with sparse furniture? Is sound traveling and bouncing off of things and then reaching your microphone like a really echoey mess? If that's the case, you want some headphones, right? You want to have some earbuds in your ears. But if you're in a little space, you might not need that. Your computer audio works fine. I'm using my laptop audio right now, and I've been told it sounds okay. And I think the same is true for Cody, right?
Yeah. For right now, I am using just the computer audio. For me, it actually works even better because it's a smaller room and my clothes are absorbing the sound. You know, actually, before this, I was using my AirPods, and I asked several of my colleagues what sounded better, and by far, using the Bluetooth connection was a far worse audio quality. So switching to the laptop was way better for me.
Yeah, I love that. We have some different situations here. I'm in a big living room, dining room area that has a lot of echo, which is why I chose the earbuds that I'm using. So we could actually show you here. This is what I sound like with my earbuds. And let me get over here and change my audio input. I'll switch to my display mic, similar to like my laptop mic, and here's what I sound like with that microphone. That's pretty different, right? And and I imagine it's echoey and a little distracting even. So
definitely switch it back right now.
Yeah, switch it back. So, and I think this comes down to the biggest point is that it's test it out. There's no one microphone that's going to work for everybody. Everyone asks us about equipment and what to buy. And the best thing to do, especially right now where there's not time to order things. Amazon is backlogged on those fancy USB mics that you plug in. So take what you've got. You've probably got 2 or 3 choices between earbuds and your laptop and maybe something else. Try what you've got with a friend on the other end and see which one is best. Totally. That's great. It's a great tip.
Okay, so we've got lighting, we've got audio. Now let's move on to LAM of lambs. Tip number 3, we are calling it me. How do I show up when I'm on video? So we've got 2 pretty simple tips to make sure that you are showing up well on that video. The first one is mind your angle. The last thing we want to see is straight up your nostrils or be looking down upon your bald spot. We really would just want to see your face to face, kind of like we're making eye contact, kind of like we're in the same room, right? If you picture a news anchor, any news anchor of history all time, they are all from the chest up and their eyes are 2/3 of the way up the screen and they're looking straight at the camera, right? They're not looking down at you. They're not looking up at you. They're looking straight at you, almost like they're making eye contact with you in the room. You feel like you're in the room with them. That is not a mistake. That is on purpose. So you'll see all 3 of us are positioned the same way today. That's how it makes it feel most connected in a meeting in the room. And Cody, we talked about this a couple days ago that you struggled with that a bit in your Clawfus. Can you explain a little bit about what you did to solve it?
Yeah, I mean the fix is super simple because this is where my camera is usually if I have nothing supporting it. So I just had a box, just like a little box hanging around. In a pinch, I've used Amazon boxes before, or even books, just stacking it up on a book. That just makes a huge difference for me about what people are seeing, right? Because if the camera angle's too low, you're seeing the ceiling. and it's not super flattering to see underneath there, right? Yeah, so putting it eye level, that was a pretty easy, pretty quick fix.
That's great.
We call them danger angles sometimes, where it's like up the nose, down the bald spot, or like if you're looking at a separate monitor, a lot of people have two monitors.
Yep.
You got to mind where your camera is coming from. Like, look, Cody's a turtle down there.
Yep.
Nobody wants that. That's a danger angle. And then, like I was saying, with the separate monitor, it looks really bizarre when you're looking at someone's cheek. They're not looking at you, and you're like, who are they paying attention to right now? That's a hard one. Second one here, assume they see you. So this is the second tip about me. Even if you're not the one talking, they might see a gallery of people, the other people on your call, and they might be watching you. So if you're distracted, if you're not paying attention, if you're doing something else, they're going to notice, and that's going to change the dynamics of the meeting. We all have an example of this that we're all going to share real quick. I'm going to start with mine, which is a couple months ago, it must have been 6 weeks ago or so. I was pitching a script, an idea to a client, and she was on video. She was wearing glasses. About halfway through my pitch, one that I was pretty proud of, I noticed that her glasses started to glow a little bit. They started to reflect something. And it wasn't my screen. It was her email. It was her calendar. It was Amazon. Girl was surfing the web while I was trying to pitch something. And I guess maybe it was my fault for not capturing.
And you could see it. You could see it reflected in her glasses. That's awesome.
You could see it reflected in her glasses. So that killed me. You know, it shot my confidence, and it made me a little bit nervous. So it impacted the rest of the meeting, really, because I could tell she wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
I think you guys have examples too.
Yeah, my favorite is I'll see people, looking straight at their screen, but their eyes are moving like a typewriter, because they're reading something. I'm like, I'm not showing any slides with text on them, but I can see their eyes tracking back and forth. Yeah. And you just know right away that they're not listening. They're not paying attention.
Right.
Where I've seen people get in trouble the most, I think, is at the very beginning of meetings, because they click join meeting, but they're not actually ready for that video to click on. So that was leading a training one time, and yeah, sure enough, this guy joined. His shirt was off. He was just kind of scratching, looking around. And then he was like, "Oh no!" Jumped out of frame, covered his camera real quick. Don't click join until you're ready.
The joke around the office right now is that you got to at least do the tops. Those are important. You got to have that covered at least. So that's great.
Yeah.
All right. So assume they see you.
Yeah, exactly. Assume they see you in a real room, in an office space. We don't have quite as many distractions as we do now. And it's our job as an attendee or a presenter of the meeting to really engage. So if you're listening, nod your head. Cody, Doug, nod as I'm talking. It makes me feel good. See, look at how good I feel about myself now. But be a good participant in the meeting, and it's going to contribute to the dynamics of the whole thing. Help them help you, and it'll reflect right back on you.
Love it. Okay.
All right. So we're cramming right through these guys. LAMB of lambs is background. So B for background. This is a popular topic these days. Our offices and conference rooms are meant to be plain. They're meant to be multi-purpose. Nobody's going to go home talking about, what I saw on the wall at the conference room. But we're all at home. We may be in close quarters. We're sharing with snot-nosed kids running around wrestling. We're sharing with our spouses on their own calls. So nobody expects architectural digest, but we do want to have something nice in the background to look at. So we've got one key tip here, and it's kind of made into two.
Got it.
Make it pleasant or make it neutral. So if what's behind you is distracting or a complete mess, or if it's confusing, you're charging an attention tax. We call it an attention tax because it's like charging them 30 seconds of attention time to figure out what that weird Rubik's Cube machine, Rube Goldberg machine in the background you've got going on. Yeah. They're not paying attention to you if they're trying to pay attention to whatever's in your background. So try to be not distracting. Try to be pleasant. I think this way. I think these pictures are pretty pleasant. I like those. If I didn't have something pleasant, it would just be a blank white wall or any kind of wall. So that's what I mean by pleasant and neutral. Cody, I want to dip in a little bit to your closet office, because you've put some thought into that. So talk us through how you made yours pleasant.
Yeah, obviously this isn't like the quick fix, right? A lot of us have to do the quick fix. We we spent some time. We actually painted in here, hung up this little floating bookshelf. So that took a little bit of time, and it is a dedicated space. But I've seen a lot of our coworkers who have less space just hang up a dark sheet behind them or a dark cloth, something like that, and that seems to work really well for people who are in a pinch.
Yeah. And actually, when you have a background that maybe prompts some conversation, sometimes you notice people looking at your background. Like, for example, Doug, I see your teacups in the background, and maybe you notice me noticing them. Mm-hmm. To us, a best practice is maybe address it. Just introduce them to your space if you feel comfortable with that. Introduce them to your space and say, I'm in my living room. This is what I've got. These are my grandmother's. Or Doug, maybe there's a story behind your teacups. Is there?
Not the teacups, but the hutch. We live in California, and my husband is from Pennsylvania. That hutch was built by his grandfather by hand before Corey was born. And his grandfather died before he was born. So that is a family heirloom, something we're really proud to have in our home way out here in California.
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, I think it's interesting to think about that then, because if somebody noticed that, you told that story, I personally feel a little bit connected to you now. And that's what we're going for in a meeting, right? Feeling connected, feeling empathetic for one another. So offering up a tiny tidbit of your background, your personal life, it might be welcome. You can try it.
I think in these times, Cody, Amanda and I both work from the office generally when we're not sheltering in place. Cody works from home since he started working at Duarte, so he built himself an office that would be his everyday workspace. Most of us, though, now are working from shelter in place that wasn't meant to be a workspace. And I think people are pretty forgiving. And when they see you in your home space, they're less likely to be distracted by it and more interested in, I get to know you. I get to be in your home with you right now. So these are special times that can be a little more forgiving than usual.
You got it.
So what if you can't do that? What if you can't do pleasant or neutral? What's the tip then?
Yeah, exactly. To me, this is worst case scenario. This is, if you can't be pleasant, you can't be neutral, sub in a virtual background. We've seen people play with this. This was a very popular thing to do way back in the beginning of quarantine, is to swap in a virtual background if your platform allows for it. Yep. To me, this is worst case scenario because it can be just as distracting as like watching your husband fold clothes in the background. So neutral and pleasant too. If it's a just beige background or a pleasing color, don't put yourself in front of Notre Dame or inside Hogwarts cafeteria. Like, nobody cares. It's not that cool. Just keep it neutral, keep it pleasant, as a rule, in my opinion.
I think, I mean, we have a lot of fun with those virtual backgrounds at work when we're having internal team meetings and stuff. And I'm sort of inclined to say, use those for the team meetings where we're going to have fun. Get that out of your system. And then when it's an important meeting with a client or customer, for instance, that's when you want to stay away from that and go with a plain background. I have several virtual backgrounds in my library. One of them is just a plain office that is someone else's office, but it just looks like an office behind me. And then I have the Hogwarts. I have the Gryffindor common room, of course, and some Star Wars backgrounds and some other choices. There's one exception, though, that we used recently at Duarte with a client, where we had a big client call where 15 clients and over a dozen Duartians on the call. We call them Duartians, folks. And we wanted clients to know at a glance which of us were from Duarte. So we had everyone at Duarte use the same virtual background that was easily identifiable as where it was a wall in our town hall training room space at Duarte that was instantly recognizable. So they could know at a glance when they saw that big gallery of people, which of us were from Duarte. And I think that was helpful. Yeah. But other than that, I wouldn't generally do that with clients.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so clock is ticking. We're running low on time, guys.
That's
so
right.
We're on Speaking of the need for speed, how's your connections? This one is about your internet. So this is your last tip for LAMBS, LAMS. S is for speed. So this is an umbrella thing. The three of us on this call know this well. I'm sure every single person watching this knows this well. If your internet, your Wi-Fi is garbage, your video will be garbage and your sound will be garbage. And I know from experience that I can talk and talk and talk and then talk some more and then finally come up for air and ask for feedback and reaction, and they haven't heard me for 5 minutes. Nothing is more credibility crushing than that. That will derail an entire meeting.
That's
So
terrible.
Fortunately, there's a solve to this problem. I actually just learned this solve a couple of weeks ago, which is embarrassing, but you can check your speed. You can.
Yeah.
You can Google it right now. You can check your internet connection. You just type in speed test into Google, click that top hit, and you can check your speed right now. So mine, for example, this morning was at a 57.6, which meant nothing to me as of a week and a half ago. For context, anything above 25 megabits per second is known as pretty good. If you're above 25 megabits per second, over 100 is ideal. That's considered very fast. That can handle multiple activities, multiple devices and people. Your husband can be on his World of Warcraft. Your kids can be on the iPad watching Dora the Explorer, and it doesn't impact anything for your quality. But not everybody has access to that. I'm not even at 100 megabits per second, and here I am in San Francisco, the tech capital of the world. Some of us struggle to get to that very, very, very fast speed. And Cody, we talked about this yesterday when we were chatting about this webinar, and you have the same problem, and actually even worse. You want to tell us about it?
Oh, sure. So unfortunately, my internet service provider, the best we can get is 25 megabits per second, which is not great. So I do things like, I will dial into audio a lot of times because I want to make sure, even if something goes wonky with my internet connection, that my client can still hear my voice. So I will prioritize the audio connection versus audio quality, because you sacrifice a little bit of quality when you go through the conference line versus going through your computer. So I do that a lot of times. And then if I have to, I'll kill my video if things are still bouncing around. And of course, if it's a really important thing like this webinar, I asked my wife and kids, hey, let's stay off of streaming for this time.
No Frozen 2 during the webinar.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So I think I'm coming through loud and clear, hopefully, during this time.
Okay, great.
Sure.
So let's do a recap.
Yeah, let's do a recap. Let's look at that lambs one more time. Can you show me the lambs and sweaters, please? There they are. LAMBS, lighting, audio, me, background, and speed. And here's the image you might want to screenshot if you want some takeaways here. But lighting, natural lighting, face your face. Audio, test your mic. Me is mind your angle and pay attention. Background, keep it neutral, keep it pleasant. And speed, test it. Test your internet speed.
That's great. That's awesome. Yeah, that's mind-blowing. And so many of these come down to test it ahead of time. You'll find out. You probably have more solutions in your house than you think you do. And if you test it, you'll find out what works best. So that's great. We're just about out of time. So luckily, we haven't had a lot of questions in the chat because we're going to have to wrap up in a couple minutes here. But before we do that, I know we have a lot of folks out there who this has wet their whistle a little bit. They want more help right now. And I wanted to mention some other things we have to offer, ways to help you. So we'll have a blog post going up soon on this very topic. It'll include the video of this webinar. And any comments from the live stream we'll answer in the Facebook chat there. We'll answer those by tomorrow. Duarte also has 4 self-paced e-courses that you can take. They range from 90 minutes to 4 hours, and they cover story, design, and delivery. That's public speaking. We have 3 new packages of speaker coaching. That's one-on-one coaching for you or for a whole team of people that are getting used to virtual communication right now. You can buy a package and get started working one-on-one with a speaker coach. And wow, that is super effective to have someone on your side for an hour just working with you. We also have all of our in-person Duarte workshops are now virtual. So Visual Story, Data Story, Resonate, and Captivate. And our newest course, which is Captivate for Virtual Communication. That's Captivate, that's delivery, that's public speaking, designed for virtual communication like this. We're really excited about these virtual workshops. They're doing great. People are really loving them, getting a lot from them. And of course, we'll be back here next week with another webinar, and I'll have more about that in a second. let's see, are there any questions? What do y'all think about boosters, Ethernet, etc.? I can say that in my own setup here, I'm wired directly to my router. I have an Ethernet cord. I got a nice long one so I can go from my router to my nice desk with a window across from me, and that takes the wireless out of the equation. That helps me.
Yeah, we do use wireless boosters in the house, and they seem to help.
And they help.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. One more question we have about some of those laptops have the camera at the bottom of the laptop instead of at the top of the display. So how do you fix that camera placement?
Buy one.
Well, there are webcams you can get pretty inexpensively that you can clip to the top or put on a little stand. There are also stands you can get for your laptop that tilt it, so you could get that camera up high, but you have to get it up high. Looking down into the camera is just never going to work to have you look credible and professional.
Back on the Ethernet thing real quick, I am not hardwired in right now. Fortunately, my Wi-Fi is high enough, but like these guys said, hardwired is always better. When you're wireless, no matter what the wireless thing is, headphones or Wi-Fi to your laptop, it's fighting for airspace, right? It's taking a little bit longer to get to you from the router because it has to travel through air. If you're hardwired in, no matter what it is, headphones or your computer, it's going to be faster. So the best solution is to be hardwired in no matter what the device is. Right, guys? I'm assuming.
Totally.
Yep.
Every wireless technology you add is another fail point, as our engineer clients would say.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
We've got a question about how should you react when you notice people are distracted in any of the ways that we mentioned, and you're giving a virtual presentation or leading a virtual meeting of some kind. How should you react to that?
I'm a big fan of just public shaming, just name calling. No, just kidding, no.
I've had this happen before. I think it's both in person and on virtual, but doing a check-in. Maybe you've been talking for too long. Maybe they're not tracking with you and you're not resonating enough. So taking a pause and saying, all right, I just want to check in with you guys for 2 seconds before I continue. Should I repeat something? Did I miss something? Maybe not calling them out necessarily, but suggesting that, hey, maybe I'm not meeting your expectation. Let's talk about how to rewrite this path. Yeah.
I think also the same I would do for a live audience, and I would just generalize it, not call out an individual, but say, I notice some of you are distracted right now and maybe not picking up what I'm laying down. So let me back up and let me try this again. I really need you all to lean in and hear this. If you just generalize it like that, it takes it out of a slap to the face and just a subtle, gentle warning, and everyone will lean back in.
Comes back to empathy, right? If you know anything about Duarte, you know that we lead with empathy. It's about your audience. So if they're not listening and they don't care, then your message isn't going to land. It's not about you. So anything you can possibly do to help them be on the journey with you, that's the point.
Yep. Yeah, and while it might be unprofessional behavior or them not doing their job, leaning in, if it's a team meeting or something like that, it doesn't matter. If audience empathy is the most important thing, then it's your job. If you're at the head, if you're leading the call, it's your job to change that and get them re-engaged.
Okay. All right. You convinced me. I'll stop shaming. I'll start shaming people. You're right.
Did we shame you out of your shaming?
Totally. In a public forum, no less.
All right. No more shame from Cody. And I think we've come to the end here. So I want to say a couple more things. I'd like to thank our producer, Emily, as well as a couple of important Duartians, Kat and Alexa, for their work behind the scenes today. Amanda, Cody, thank you both for being smart and wonderful and all the work that you put into preparing this. Thank you for the lambs. And thank you all for tuning in, everyone who's watching right now. Don't forget to tune in next week when we'll have 2 guests from our design team here to talk about creativity. We'll explore the question, how do you collaborate in creative ways using virtual technology. It's next Thursday right here on Facebook, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 Eastern, and other times in other places. And we hope to see you there. Be well, everybody, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.